Next, we have Rooted in the City, Urban Gardening and Community Wisdom. This panel digs into the transformative power of urban gardening as a tool for resilience, connection, and community. Local growers and organizers will share how cultivating land in the city fosters food sovereignty, intergenerational knowledge sharing, and deeper relationships with plants, people, and place. Our panelists include Sumi Banjo Arboji, Bronson Arboji, Andy Bryan, Greta, Pete and Olivia Prendergast, and the Black Radish. So welcome to the stage.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys feeling? Good, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us this beautiful evening. My name is Sumi Banjo Arabaji, and this panel is called Rooted in the City, Urban Gardening and Community Wisdom. I'm here to co-moderate with Olivia at the end there with the beautiful baby. Well, baby's not here, but she has a beautiful baby. And we'll just go around and do quick introductions. So we will introduce our name, our spirit vegetable, and how many years we've been in gardening in the community agriculture world, and our affiliation to different gardening groups. So I can start. So my name is Sumi Banjo Arabaji, and my spirit vegetable will probably be a cucumber, because it's very, very dense in water, and I'm trying to be a little bit more watery-like. And I've been in gardening for, I would say since the pandemic, 2020, 2021, that really was a catalyst for me to get into gardening. And my garden affiliation is with multiple community gardens in the city, Karamu Garden in Minneapolis, Sioux Line Garden in Minneapolis, different, Loring Park actually, right, too, for a little bit. So a few different community gardens around the cities, and yeah, that's me.
Hello, my name is Brownson Arabaji, and I love the question. My spirit vegetable would be a cucumber. I didn't realize you chose that too. So cucumber, because they're viney, they're unruly, but there's like a rhyme and a reason to a cucumber if you really pay attention to it. Yeah, I just love them. And my affiliation to gardens, this is my 5th year growing food. I think it's gonna just be a lifelong journey, obviously. It's made me feel like a kid because it's like infinite. So I don't really look at it like mastering it or anything like that, just enjoying it. And affiliations to community gardens, I've done countless volunteer work through Master Gardener program I did. Her and I were leads at Loring Park, and that kind of led into Sioux Line. And once I got the gardening itch, I kind of just went crazy. Just went on YouTube, just was obsessed with it, as she could tell you about. And we got really involved, and yeah, I'm just really happy to be here today. So.
Hi, I'm Greta Clowder-Leon. My spirit vegetable would probably be a kohlrabi. And I grew up farming. I lived south of the cities, but then when we settled down in North Minneapolis is really when we started growing more, about 7 years ago. A lot of the gardens that I'm affiliated with are in North Minneapolis, and then I also facilitate the Augsburg Community Garden in Cedar Riverside.
Hi, my name is Andy. My spirit vegetable is a potato, and the gardens that I'm affiliated with are in North Minneapolis as well. I work for the McKinley Neighborhood Association and help manage their gardens and their distribution. I work with the Falville Neighborhood Association and help run the Zen on Penn Garden on 36 and Penn. And also work sort of unofficially with various other community gardens throughout North Minneapolis.
My name is, can you hear me? Is that working? My name is Jade Townsend, and this is...
I'm Carrie Thompson.
And we run the Black Radish, which is an urban farm in South Minneapolis. We operate a 50-member CSA, and our urban farm currently works that we operate out of 15 yards around the Standish, Erickson, Corcoran, Powderhorn neighborhoods. And that's enough to produce food for a 50-member CSA, plus restaurant sales and some markets. Yeah.
Yeah, our food also goes to the Sane Foundation, which is a foundation that has food distributions, and the food distribution that we give to is Corcoran, which is just about 5-6 blocks from our house. And we love all the vegetables.
Hi, my name is Olivia. I am living and growing in Viroqua, Wisconsin, south of La Crosse right now. So I have no affiliation really with an urban farm, urban garden at this time. But I'm honored to be here. And I work closely with a farm called Down Home Farm. They're my neighbors, and where some of our produce came from today, too. What's your spirit vegetable? Oh, right. My spirit vegetable is the carrot. Thank you.
Well, we can go ahead and get to the questions for this evening. So we figure we can discuss what wisdom is like and what role wisdom plays in community gardens. So the first question is, in what ways can communal gardening or community gardening reconnect people to ancestral or cultural ways of relating to the earth? So I'll let you guys ponder that.
Yeah, I'll start out with that one. I would just say connecting to the earth at all would be an ancestral way of connecting to the earth, which is to say interacting with natural cycles and being involved in them, being involved in the seasons, being aware of and dealing with living things and taking care of them. So yeah, working with plants whatsoever, I think, is a step in a beautiful direction. It's something that inspires me to be a part of these.
Yeah, I definitely have to second that. I would say just that connection, reconnection to the land and how important it is to, I mean, there's countless studies that say how much, serotonin or happiness is released when you're in a garden. One avenue I do want to reconnect with is like my lineage back home in like Nigeria. There's a lot of ceremonies that I'm starting to see in gardens where people are like giving back, like giving an offering. I had some friends on a farm do that like a month ago, and that was really special. So, and also just like different moon cycles. I want to learn more about like harvest moon cycles. People would harvest at a certain time, or they would sow a seed at a certain time. So there's a lot of really cool like ancestral stuff that's just been hidden that we have to relearn. So just kind of tapping back into that, but like you said, just starting simple and just getting out in the garden, I feel closer to something. There's some presence for sure when I'm out there, and it's really healing.
On like the serotonin situation, I think that that is one of our biggest things that we get out of our farming, along with the people in our neighborhood. It just brings so much connection and happiness, and you feel so much different when what you do is work with something that could be totally destroyed in 5 seconds, or could feed 30 people.
Do we feel ready for the next question? So then, to follow up, this is something that I've experienced in my work, like as a homesteader, is not only are we reconnecting with the earth in really real ways, but like how are gardens anchoring our communities and promoting trust and wisdom among these people within them? Like, how do we learn from, like, how do gardens push us to learn from people we might not always learn from, or plants we wouldn't otherwise pay attention to?
So this is kind of a connection to the last one. One thing that I have really that really excites me about growing food together is creating a new culture and a shared culture. I didn't grow up, I wasn't, my ancestors weren't native to this land. Minneapolis is not my first home, yet here I am with all these neighbors and all these different stories that we may not share the same religion or, background or whatever, but when we're in the garden, we do share that same culture. And there's something really special about working with people to complete a task that doesn't involve getting paid. And that is actually about survival and learning about plants and food as medicine as a way to support yourself and your neighbors, I think is like a really cool sort of new cultural experience where I feel like, creating a new paradigm by growing food together where we can all meet on an equal playing field and learn about each other and learn about the land together.
Was the question like how community gardens bring people together? Yeah, I mean, a good example, I've been afforded the opportunity to work as like a farm manager for a youth program. It's called Urban Ag Initiative, and it's like a high school through college, so a lot of kids who may grow up in like socioeconomical situations where they may not have both sets of parents or they may not have access to food. I know the Aldi closed down in that area within the last 5 years, so there's been a huge domino effect. So what is really amazing is watching this group, they're already 5 years into it, so my whole role is just to come in and improve upon the processes, but seeing the engagement in the community is so amazing where they build these gardens from like vacant lots, through the city, I think it's like on a 10-year lease, and we build raised beds or we bring in fruit trees, and just seeing, just the opportunity that the students get. They get to create events and stay off the street and stay out of trouble. And then also just the other day at Karamu, there was a woman who said she had purchased a deep freezer because this communal garden had done so much for her. And I'm like, just blew my mind. And she's like, I'm on to my second deep freezer. And it's just super cool to see stuff like that. I think it just goes to show how abundant it is if we all work together. So.
Our farm is a little different, but one thing that is very community oriented is that the farmland that we have currently is all donated, I guess we could say, or
We trade produce for land and water use per property, so it's sort of this, it becomes a community involvement. We farm the land and maintain it and harvest and do the irrigation, do all of it, and then trade the produce to the homeowner. But it creates a community in which people, like public and private, is sort of blurry, and like it's a really interesting situation that sort of, it spreads us out throughout neighborhoods. We're on the ground, like talking to people. It's an amazing way to go about it, and sort of the community aspect of it is something that is sort of a side effect to us. We didn't realize it would be so profound, I guess.
yeah, and it's something that in our neighborhood, like most people know who we are and what we do, and they ask us questions and talk about each other in good ways, like, oh, did you see this about this person? And like some neighbors can't put their air conditioning in, so we do that for them. Like just like community for real, not just like an event. Not saying events are bad since we're at an event.
Yeah, no, that is a great example of how these spaces promote trust amongst one another. Because, when the people that you get food from also is helping out in different ways in your life, you can't help but feel as though like you can just open yourself up to them more. And when the more we open ourselves up to each other is when, real bonds are flourished and trust and anchorship and wisdom happens. And I think that's really beautiful that became the after effect of you just wanting to provide something and do something within your community. I really like that. So our next question is, how can gardens serve as a multi-purpose center for creative cultural or just healing spaces too, right? We grow food and we eat the food and we harvest, but these gardens also serve other purposes. So what other purposes have you guys seen it serve? I know, for example, I guess I can answer this because I wanna chime in a bit. I know at Karamu Garden, we've done lots of events there. Black Storytellers Alliance performed there. I mean, it's their garden that they put in for the city, and there was storytelling, and there was kids coming, and I remember there was a garden tour from the U of M. So these gardens serve multiple purposes, and I love that how it's able to bring people from all walks of life through them and connect you to other people that you may not otherwise connect with. So curious to hear other ways you've seen these gardens play a role other than growing food.
I love the concept of as a garden as a third place. I think that, especially in this day and age, is really important, that we have a place that's not work, home, or the bar. And I think gardens are a great place to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that community gardening, in my mind, ideally is building towards creating communal spaces for our neighborhoods and for people. Starting with gardening because that's just a natural jumping off point. Because it's connecting to nature and interacting with plants and living things and seasons. And because it's related to subsistence and survival and nourishing ourselves, which is a project that everybody can get on board with. But ultimately, I feel like these spaces could evolve into all kinds of different interesting community gathering spaces. So Greta and I will run events through the various community gardens that we'll foot the bill for through the seedlings that we sell. And that will include movie nights. So we'll just set up a projector outside and people will come out, mostly kids, and we'll do movies like that. We want to do a Skillshare workshop. We do different kinds of celebrations where we bring music out into the garden. And I think the coolest one that I saw happen a couple of times kind of just naturally was daycare. Because people in the area see us out in the garden, we become this predictable, dependable presence. And that we're dealing in something that's like requires responsibility. We're nourishing these plants and taking care of them, being mindful of that. So people see that. And then it's just come up a couple times, hey, we don't have like a babysitter. You guys are out here for the next couple hours. Can you just watch our kids? And the kids love the garden too. There's something that naturally they gravitate towards the dirt and towards the plants, and it's all novel and exciting. So there's really it's like symbiotic natural thing happens. And then the parents of those kids start to see the garden as this thing that returns this value to them as well. It's not only a novel place where people are growing food, but this is also somewhere that these people watch out for my kids, and this is sort of where we can, and that forming as like a basis of a bond and growing from just a garden to a greater community space is something that inspires me very much when I'm doing it.
Yes, no, seriously.
The other cool thing about what's the word that I'm looking for? Yeah, of like taking care of your kids, and then the parents is like, we had a story of like some people trying to dump garbage, and people ran out of their house, and they're like, you can't dump garbage here. This is where my kids play, and so it became this kind of protective, wonderful community space.
I would say one thing that I've been very grateful to be a part of with my journey is institutions are starting to see the work that people like all y'all do, clearly. They have a known history of taking ideas. But one thing that I'm fortunate enough to be a part of is that it's a cultural exhibit at the Landscape Arboretum. So if any of you all want to go out there for free, holler at me. I'll get you in. So there's a garden called Seeds of Knowledge, and I help co-create and partner with a lady, very powerful woman named Zongzi, and she comes from like a line of like healers, and she's a herbalist. She has a botanical garden out in Hugo, and her story is amazing. Her mother, Ma, and their father fled, I think it was Laos or whatever, during the Vietnam War, and she actually like took seeds and like plants and saved them and went down the Mekong River and had to give opiates to her daughter Zongzi so she wouldn't cry because the soldiers would kill you. It's just pretty intense stories like that the importance of a seed, she had like the presence of mind in a fight or flight situation to, I need to grab my seeds. I need to keep this going. And so, 40 years later, a couple decades later, she's, here at the Landscape Arboretum. And, one thing that we've been working on is like the intersection of art. So last weekend, there was kind of a Hmong celebration where there was a Hmong gallery of art, but then we started in the gallery, and an elder was like so blown away by the space that she wrote like a unique song to the garden that I have been stewarding. So it just meant a lot to me. I'm like, wow, I grew a lot of these plants. I went to the Hmong market, met these people face to face, asked them the questions about their culture, and it erases a lot of the, I guess you could say, stereotypes or just walls we put up unnecessarily between each other over things that are trivial, such as skin color or race or gender, just very like surface level stuff. So being able to see like these spaces kind of turn into art as well, and like flowers can be next to the Hmong melon, and then the pollinators are still here, and it's super cool to see that. And I love the whole notion of daycare. That is really cool.
How do you go after that? We also have a daycare at our farm. It's also very fluid. There's 3 wonderful children that have recently left us, sadly, but they lived down our block, and they just didn't have like the most safe home, and they ended up at our house every single day. And they ate so much food. Yeah. It was wonderful. I miss them already. But we do have other neighbors, and the kids just always end up in the garden zones. And our block has 7 of our gardens, so there's 7 yards that are gardens. So the kids just run around, and they've learned not to destroy anything really. I really haven't seen much destroying. They did eat the 3 kids did eat all the apples off one of the trees that weren't ready yet, but whatever. So we do also have daycare. But another thing is, like, we have been bringing people into our farm, which is kind of like bringing people into our little community. Like the U of M also had a tour 2 days ago of our farm, so we had like 30 strangers walking up and down our streets, just learning about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And we're working really hard to buy some new land. And this land is at 2 blocks from our main area, and the land is owned by 55 plus condo association, and they are so into it that they held the land for us so we could raise money to buy it, which is amazing because they had other offers for condos and easier ways to get money. We're not going to pay them all at once. So it's a beautiful like community building situation in our little neighborhood. And daycare.
I was gonna add this like a more like rural example. I live next to like a very successful homestead, and they have a lot of food to just like give. But they also have a very established space, and so they have like a sauna at the back corner of their like property, and they invite like lots of friends. All kinds of different people come through every Sunday in the wintertime to sauna and have a potluck. And it like ends up going into the springtime, and so like the kids are interacting, like they have high tunnels down there with like all their peaches and cherries, and so you have kids like running in and out of the high tunnels, and like that same like collective experience where like we all get to enjoy having dinner and socializing with each other because our kids are all playing together and our parents are all working together to like take care of each other and create nourishing meals and just enjoy and like have like a healthy practice together. And the sauna might like bring us all together, but we like do so much more in that time. And I feel like I've developed a lot of my relationships through this like one event that happens every week. And I get to live next door, but so many people are like driving to come out, which is really incredible. And yeah, so I think we all answered that question, that last question. That's really fun. I'm going to ask our last question in this topic, which is how do we expand and redefine our definition of community to include other creatures like plants, animals, mushrooms, general ecosystems? How do we see gardens as doing that for us in our daily lives so that we, are we considering other creatures as we generate our relationship with the land?
Well, we started from just lawns, so we're bringing creatures in nonstop, for better or worse.
We've seen it in real time go from ornamental lawn to farm space, and then the amount of insects and animals, birds, is quadrupled in a year, 2 years. Like it's incredible what happens.
Yeah, we've been doing it since 2018, and I think our neighborhood is infested with living creatures now.
How many?
Not all of those are great.
But yes, yeah. I mean, we bring in so many. There's new birds now, like the yellow one, whatever that one is, the Iowa bird, the yellow finch. That's never around. I'm not that good at this. They come for the sunflowers, so we started planting sunflowers, and there's just like rows and rows of sunflowers, and they like come and match the sunflowers, and they're so beautiful. But they weren't there before.
You got like frogs and toads.
Yeah, and we're just in South Minneapolis. Like, we're really just like blocks from here. And there's beautiful frogs and toads and chickens. We have chickens too.
Yeah, I would say just like I like that answer of just bringing it to you. When we were currently renting, and our person renting it was cool with us growing last year, and I was so busy last year with the birth of my daughter that kind of let the grass go, and just seeing like the normal quote unquote weeds like that grew in there, it turned into like a pollinator, like just haven. It was unbelievable. So it's really cool that you guys are saying that. And I think one thing that I learned that was obnoxious is United States has like 42 million acres of yard, like lawn. And we're watering something, in my opinion, that is useless. But yeah, some people like the lawn. So if you like your lawn, that's cool. Like, lawns can look cool, but when they're not serving a purpose and you're tearing things down and destroying things, I think that's one thing that we got to be mindful of is you can grow native stuff in your yard. There's grants that you can look for. There's a pollinator grant, I believe. They're out there and they're becoming more popular. So just look out for them.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, the concept of expanding community is just allowing the community to come to you is the theme I'm hearing too, is sometimes you just have to be open to allow all of these creatures and pollinators and people dropping off their kids, to be, watched at the garden. Like you're quite literally bringing the community to you as you're intentionally cultivating spaces of, nourishment, healing, all of the things that these gardens bring to us. So it's really, really cool how, it creates its own ecosystem, right? So it's beautiful. How much time? 10 minutes? Okay. Yeah, we can go to our next topic for a little bit. So one thing that has always been on my heart is I'm kind of a fighter at heart. I'm not gonna lie. So a lot, I fight a lot, and one of the things that is near and dear to me is protecting and preserving these spaces that we put so much love and hard work into. And I've had the experience being part of Sioux Line Garden, really seeing how evasive some systems can be when they want to take what you've had for so long. So a little backstory, Sioux Line Garden is a community garden in Uptown off of the Greenway, and it's been there for 30 plus years. And Bronson and I had the beautiful experience of being members there and growing there for 2 years, but members there for longer. And the times you were growing in that garden, it really felt like community. And we've been a part of a lot of community gardens. I mean, all the community gardens are amazing, but Sioux Line is just a really special one because of how truly communal it is and bringing kids all around and pollinators. It's like a little oasis amongst all the other oases in Minneapolis. And so there was, and Hennepin County wanted to put a bike path, which would have pretty much decimated a lot of the garden space that's been cultivated there for a long time. And, we've had to rally up and, push back and speak against the Parks Department Council because they own the land. And we found that, sometimes when you have a beautiful thing, there are, and I hate to admit it, but there are other interests that come and want to destroy that. And at least in my opinion, and what I would love to ask all of you is, how do you want to engage with people who have maybe other interests or who don't see the value of what you're trying to build? What would be some strategies that you've had to implement or would you want to implement and see happen in these types of scenarios?
Our current strategy is to raise a lot of money, for real. So we're afraid of having too much land, like having a big plot of land that's taken from us for that reason, because of other farms that have just been taken away. The city does have great things where they, will give you land, but they can take it away at any point. So we are doing a gigantic capital campaign with Sane Foundation and raising $300,000, and we're at $82,000.
Where can people donate?
Go to the Black Radish, MPLS.com. There's a link on there.
There you go.
I have some papers in here too, but it's not supposed to be like a campaign thing right now, but you should. But for real, we were afraid to get land from anybody that wasn't just ours. Like, we were afraid of it, and it's not easy. And that's why we started out by kind of borrowing land from the neighbors and then sharing the food with them. And the only way, I feel like the only way I can continue to invest myself in this work is having the land and knowing it's not going to go away. I just don't think it's fair that other people can't do it, and I hope other people can follow our lead and raise a ton of money and get some land. Yeah, we're in the Star Tribune today.
It's a question of asking culture as a whole to value something that isn't necessarily valued currently. These things are very important. Farming, agriculture in general doesn't make money. You're never going to make a killing doing it, and that makes it very difficult for land acquisition, especially in urban areas. The city, the county, both do incredible jobs of offering up lands at low prices, low rents, but like Carrie said, it can be taken away at any moment. It's usually not the most ideal piece of land. It's usually got concrete or, toxins or whatever in the soil. So it's just, really it's about us as a culture, saying this is valuable, this is really valuable to us and our world and our life, and putting that at the forefront of making land available to people, making it affordable for people who want to farm it and provide food. There's a lot of,
Yeah, our dream would be to have a little Black Radish in every neighborhood, in every city. So, because it's amazing. So we have a Wednesday where people come and pick up their food. It's every Wednesday, not a Wednesday. People come from all around the neighborhood. They walk, they bike, they come and they all meet together and pick up their food, and it's like a grocery store. So you come in and you pick what you want. And your neighbor's coming too, so you don't take too much. And we don't say how much to take, and it's never gone. It's always extra left over. It's so amazing. It's like, and if every little neighborhood could have that, and like, you know, we have 50 families coming every week, so 50 families in our little neighborhood get fed. Like, so if that could happen all over, it'd be just magical. Now I'm on a soapbox.
I would suggest just meeting people where there are. I heard a stat in one of the classes I was taking. It was like in Minnesota itself, we're always like a top 10 ag place anyway, just by default. And I think the stat I heard, it was like less than 10% of like gardeners or farmers are under 35. And so the vast majority are older. So they're kind of at an intersection of, do I pass my land on to my children? And a lot of those children who are from farms, I've noticed, have a lot of trauma. Like they've been kind of forced to be manual labor. So a lot of them are checked out. They may even just need the help, like the labor shortage. So there is an opportunity of more communal. I have a friend, I'm not gonna say her name just for, protection of her, but she was gifted 40 acres from somebody she grew up with. And so to me, if that can happen to somebody else, it can happen to anyone. And I feel like the shift in the earth right now, like people are starting to wake up and really see that. Like if you're sitting on a couple hundred or 1,000 acres and you're just this rich dude or woman and you're not using it, or dollars, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's kind of where the world is moving by default. So that gives me hope too, and that gives me hope knowing you guys raised $82,000. Like, congratulations! Like, it goes to show like that grassroots stuff is real. Like, no matter which intersection you're going at it with. So,
All right, unfortunately, we have to. Oh, Q&A. Oh, okay. Well, if does anyone have anything else they would like to say before we go to Q&A? I would like to.
I just wanted to throw one more thing on that last
Of
one,
course.
which is I wanted to plug, hearing you guys raising money, I wanted to plug just the idea of community gardeners and community gardens working together as a whole. Because I feel like it may still not be a lot of power when we're talking about dealing with hugely wealthy, powerful, or corporations or government institutions, but it still helps for us to be together and to be able to, alert other people that have the same sort of values that are into community gardening to trouble that might be happening in one community garden location. And one thing that's been noticeable and a little bit difficult working in this world for the last 5 years is that there are all kinds of schisms, and there are these human dramas that play out because everybody's really passionate about community gardening and their dream and what it means to them. And people, there'll be little power struggles or like factions that'll develop even within North Minneapolis. And we haven't even really gotten out of North Minneapolis to work with people in South Minneapolis. We got to all work together.
It's your spot.
I feel like we've got to replace the sense of territorial and tribalism with like cooperation and communal help, because I feel like we could accomplish that much more if the rest of us were all working together. That's what I want to say.
Absolutely. I just wanted to add that was like a conversation we wanted to have, was how like brainstorming how community gardens could actually like expand their scope and work together in tandem to grow more than just the basics. Like a lot of us are working with annuals here and talking about vegetables and like moving beyond that to like perennials or medicinals, and like what does that look like in the city. So for next time, stay tuned.
Yes. Stay tuned. Yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful panel. You guys are all amazing trailblazers. Thank you for what you guys are all doing. Does anyone have any questions out in the... Yes.
So the story is that in the past, there were children who played across the Broadway Bridge with each other, and they would ride their bikes back and forth so that they could all connect and play together, and now that doesn't happen. So the hope would be that maybe we could do something like that with the community gardens, biking back and forth across the bridge.
Yeah. The question is, can we partner with different city parks to grow food in their land? And they do have a plan for that. They do have like an urban something or other person who's in charge of it. And they are doing some gardens within these parks. We are going to be potentially a part of one at Corcoran. However, it is not easy, and they are not easy to talk to, and it's challenging. So, yeah, like last year they were very excited for us to do something, and this year they're plowing down the area and haven't told us a thing. So I just don't think it's the kind of thing that's going to happen quickly, but there is actual funds for this, but we'll see.
I think it's a little more complicated than what they assumed at first. Like, you can't just put up garden boxes, put plants in it, and then let it go, which I think some people think that that's how it happens. Like, they have to be maintained, they have to be looked after, they have to be harvested. It's an effort, and it takes labor, it takes manpower.
It takes work, yeah.
Takes people power.
Yeah, no, the person
And they don't really kind of, they sort of want to see it as this one and done job, like come in, build boxes, put your garden in, and then walk away, and that just is going to be a mess by the end, by 3 months in, you know? So.
No, yeah, and I can speak to this too, because we were part of Loring Park Community Garden. So Loring Park has they had, I don't know if they still do, I haven't checked in for a while, but in 2021 at least, they did have a community garden there, and it was rented plots, but there was also like some plots for communal garden where, you know, anyone can come and harvest a cherry tomato. But the problem with that was there wasn't a lot of investment in the upkeep, like you mentioned, you know, so it fell a lot on the volunteers, you know, like ourselves, the volunteer leads, but people just wanted to come in, tend to their own little garden, and then leave. There wasn't a lot of a communal aspect to that. So it really seems as though, I mean, the current reality is working with the city of Minneapolis and the parks, that has been the experience. I mean, I can share, I'm sure you share the same testament, and it's challenging, but, you know, we're open, so.
You know, I think if they were being serious, they would just put more money towards it and actually get people out there to do it, because it's like,
they
it's one.
do have money. That's the issue.
Right.
They have this money, but they're just like, I don't know exactly what to do. And they asked us for a huge plan, and once we sent the plan, they dead air.
Well, then it just sounds like a formality then. Like, because, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you know, we've been, you know, taking all this land from you guys for so long. Okay, we'll give you this little sliver, but figure it out. That's kind of how they treat us.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, that intersection, like, maybe push back and, like you said, give them plans, you know, and they have to put their money where their mouth is, in my opinion. Like, you should get somebody dedicated. If we're paying taxes, there should be a dedicated orchardist for each playground or park. Like, you just drive around a certain radius, right? A job with benefits. Like, why not? It's like a true. We were just at a family friends and harvesting from an old beacon apple tree yesterday, and it's not even what do you call it? A dwarf tree, but it's still something that you can scale and climb up like a kid. And the lady Roberta said she had over 4,000 apples this year, and it's not even a bumper year. Like, it's crazy.
We carried 2 like Cub bags, like Trader Joe bags full of apples, and that wasn't even it didn't even make a dent of what her one little apple tree in her backyard does. So it's just, you know, we can plant these in different park spaces and have people maintain them, and people could have access to it, but, you know, we yeah. Anyway.
They do have plans for this. Mm-hmm. It's just not happening.
Exactly.
It's just not happening.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of
So there's
plans.
plans for police reform too.
There's a lot of plans.
All right, well, that is the end of our panel. Thank you for all the people who asked questions, and thank you to our beautiful panelists.
Thank you.
And thank you, Olivia, for co-moderating with me.